Hello, friends. This is Let's Talk About Myths, baby. I'm Liv, and against my better judgment, I'm back with a new episode. An explanation. See, I've recently started a new job. Said new job entails very long hours right now, though it will calm down, hopefully soon. But it means that I haven't had any time to research, write, record, or edit this podcast. I have left it to the only day and a half I've had off in 2 weeks. Anyway, I didn't want to let you guys down because, well, there are just so many more of you lately. So here I am, and I apologize if this episode is a little short or rushed. It is the very best I could do in this particular moment. We'll get back to the same high quality you expect from me in the future. Unrelated, a great many of you have been asking me about the new Netflix show, Troy, Fall of a City. Unfortunately, due to aforementioned job, I haven't had any time to watch it yet, which I feel very troubled by. I hope to binge it very soon, and maybe I'll be back to you with a bonus episode where I talk about it. The timing is just too good to pass up. So without further ado, let's recall back to the last episode where an oath was being sworn. Paris and Menelaus would fight in hand-to-hand combat. Winner take all, loser is dead. This is episode 29, The Iliad, part 3. Athena versus Aphrodite. Kind of. Once the oath has been sworn, King Priam of Troy returns to the city. He doesn't want to watch in suspense as his son fights to the death over Helen. He also knows that Paris is not the greatest warrior around. In fact, he's really just a pretty guy who's been relying on his looks his entire life. Priam doesn't have the highest confidence that his son will survive. Before Priam leaves the fighting ground, he makes a very pointed statement that while the Trojans and the Greeks don't know the outcome of the forthcoming fight, the gods do. They know who will win, and Priam is more than a little bit bitter that he's left out of that knowledge. Back outside the Trojan walls, where the Greeks and Trojans have gathered to facilitate this fight, Odysseus and Hector plan the dueling ground, and they mark it. I'm picturing the magnificent waterfall where T'Challa and Eric Killmonger fight in Black Panther, a scene I saw a total of 3 times and wish I'd seen more, and which still made my heart leap out of my chest, both from suspense and the super fucking hot shirtless dudes fighting it out. But I digress. Odysseus and Hector, Paris' brother, and the eldest prince of Troy have planned out the dueling ground. Next, Menelaus and Paris must determine who will be the first to throw his spear. They put 2 rocks into a helmet. And, once again, both Greeks and Trojans speak to Zeus. They say, quote, "Zeus, our father, most glorious king, now hear us. Whichever man brought these troubles upon both sides, let him be killed and descend to the realm of Hades, while the rest of us live in peace and abide by our oath." They're not mincing words here. Everyone is rooting for the loser, whoever he may be, to straight up die so they can get on with their goddamn lives. Hector takes the helmet and shakes up the rocks. Without looking, he shakes until one of the rocks jumps out of the helmet. It's the one assigned to Paris. He will be the one to throw the first spear. Paris and Menelaus prepare for battle. Homer provides us with a detailed description of the armor that Paris puts on, and he's got a lot of it, including a helmet with a blood-chilling horsehair crest. So, it's scary, apparently. Menelaus does the same, covering himself in all his armor. As decided, Paris throws his spear first. It hits Menelaus in the center of his shield, doing nothing. The spear bends from the impact and the shield is still strong. Menelaus then prays to Zeus to punish Paris for breaking the bond of Xenia that I've spoken so much about. He throws the spear at Paris. Unlike Paris's, Menelaus' spear breaks right through Paris's shield and then through his breastplate and pokes him in the ribcage. And then, my friends, is a very good example of the differing battle skills between the two men. Old Paris is not off to a great start here. Next, Menelaus takes his sword to Paris's helmet, but instead of harming him, the sword shatters. Menelaus, apparently unaware of the danger of doing this, or maybe Homer is just being a little bit showy, cries up at the sky, quote, "Lord Zeus, truly no god is more spiteful than you are. I thought that at least I would have my revenge on Paris for the harm he has done me. But look here, my sword lies shattered, and the spear has flown from my hand, and I haven't killed him." Seriously, who thinks that letting out a paragraph-long yell at the sky is the best thing to do when you're legit in the middle of hand-to-hand combat? Anyway, he does this, and Paris apparently just watches, because once he's finished his speech, Menelaus runs at Paris and grabs him by the helmet, spinning him around and toward the Greeks and strangling him in the process. Paris is very nearly about to die here, but a certain someone takes notice of what's going on and steps in to help him. Aphrodite, of all people, causes the strap on Paris's helmet, what Menelaus has been strangling him with, to break and free Paris. Menelaus is pissed, and having let go of Paris, rushes at him again with his spear. But, again, Aphrodite steps in. She sweeps Paris away and, in a thin mist, whisks him away and takes him straight up to his own bedroom, leaving him safely there in what I would deem a very unfair turn of events. Seems a bit one-sided if one man has a goddess willing to straight up remove him from battle when the other is about to strike to kill. Aphrodite then disguises herself as someone Helen used to know in Sparta and finds her, telling her to return to their bedroom because, what do you know, Paris is right there looking mighty fine and waiting for her. But Helen here is no dummy. She realizes immediately that it's Aphrodite speaking with her. This is something I would assume that Aphrodite could have foreseen, so I wonder the attempt at disguising herself at all, but what do I know? Helen basically is like, what the fuck are you doing? Are you trying to trick me? What is up? Helen accuses Aphrodite of trying to return her to Menelaus, and in doing so, she really befriends Aphrodite, which is always a great plan. Aphrodite in turn loses her shit because that is what she does. Aphrodite yells at Helen and threatens her. She tells her that she could very easily cause everyone to hate Helen, and does she know how she would die then? Helen immediately questions her decision to criticize Aphrodite and silently follows the goddess back to the bedroom she shares with Paris. When Helen sees Paris safely in their bedroom, unharmed, she tells him that she wishes he had died there because he used to brag that he was so much better with a spear. If that's true, Paris should return and challenge Menelaus once more. Though Helen then immediately changes her mind on how she's feeling and takes it all back, saying, quote, "Although, on second thought, I would advise you not to do that. It might be a little reckless. You might end up as a corpse on the point of his spear." Paris tries to reassure her, saying, "This time Menelaus won because Athena helped him. But next time, next time, I'll totally win because we have gods on our side too." And then they have lots of sex. Paris is horny, and he makes that super clear. Like, Homer does not hold back. Meanwhile, Menelaus is down where they were just fighting moments ago. He's still searching for Paris. Like, where the hell did he go? How did he just disappear? Finally, the Greeks give up looking, and Agamemnon announces that obviously this means that Menelaus has won. He makes clear that Helen now belongs to Menelaus. Property is property, you know? Helen belongs to Menelaus along with all her possessions, and the Trojans owe the Greeks penalty fitting for what's been done. Penalty that will be remembered for generations to come. The Greeks cheer. They thought they would be going home. On Olympus, meanwhile, Zeus and the other Olympians sit together to discuss the goings-on down on Earth. They toast with nectar as they watch Troy below. Zeus turns to his wife and he points out that Menelaus may have Athena and her, Hera, watching over him and helping out, but Paris too has a goddess in Aphrodite. Menelaus clearly won, he notes, so he asks those around him whether they should once again stir up war and make things worse for those lowly humans, or, instead, should they proceed with the oath as it was sworn and make peace among the humans and allow the city of Troy to continue to be inhabitable. What should they do? Of course, Zeus's clearly intentionally taunting words cause both Athena and Hera to get pretty angry. Hera yells at him, asking him if he's suggesting that they make all her hard-fought labors be in vain. She has worked so hard to ruin the lives of the Trojans. Zeus notes pretty rationally, "What the hell have the Trojans done to you, Hera? Why the hell do you hate Priam so much and want to spend all your time and energy ruining his life? Seriously, it's kind of weird." But he says that he doesn't want such a small disagreement to come between this clearly and not at all fucked up marriage. And one more thing, he says, quote, "The next time I have an urge to smash a city where people dear to you live, don't oppose me, but let me act as I want to. Because I have given in to you on this matter, not under compulsion, but sorely against my will." Hera responds by, weirdly, listing the cities she most loves. Argos, Sparta, Mycenae. Not coincidentally the cities ruled by Agamemnon and Mycenae, Menelaus and Sparta. And a man I'll get into more soon, Diomedes in Argos. Hera tells Zeus to topple them all if that's what he wants. She won't stop him. And also, she couldn't because, she says, he's stronger than her by far. Then she says, quote, "Still, you should never undermine what I have done. I too am a god, and I have come from the same stock as you do. Cronus fathered me also, the first of his daughters." Which I think is just a super smart statement of female empowerment. Like, the fuck makes you any different? Hera's just as good as Zeus in the long run, and Lord knows I'm not normally a fan of Hera, but she makes a great fucking point here. Hera finishes off her rant by asking Zeus to command Athena to go down to the battlefield to arrange for the Trojans to be the ones who break the truce. They will break the sacred oath they only just swore. And Zeus does exactly that. Athena flies down to the battlefields outside of Troy. Athena arrives amongst the Trojans, disguised as the son of Antenor, the captain I mentioned last episode. In this disguise, she finds a man who she taunts to take Menelaus out with a single shot of his arrows. "Imagine the fame that would bring you," she tells him. "What gratitude you would get from the royal family in Troy, especially Paris, and what gifts you would get in return." Athena leads this man to use his bow and arrow, a bow which, we are told in an extensive parentheses, this man made from the horns of an ibex, which he had killed when it jumped out from behind a rock, and his arrow hit it in the chest, and it fell back into the rocks, and its horns were 4 feet long, and a craftsman put strips of wood in the horns and bound them together, and finished it off with gold hooks at the ends on which to tie the bowstrings. Anyway, he uses this extensively described bow, pulls back the string as far as his nipple. Yes, that's a distinct note in the Iliad. And he lets it go. And moments after Athena convinces this man to shoot the arrow, she deflects the arrow so that while it does hit Menelaus, it doesn't kill him. Blood pours from his non-lethal wound and down Menelaus's strong thighs and handsome legs and shapely ankles. Homer's descriptions, not mine. But the damage is done. The Trojans have broken the truce. When Agamemnon sees that his brother has been wounded, he goes on a bit of a tirade about how it can't end here, and what if Menelaus dies and the Greeks simply give up and return home? What will the world think of Agamemnon then? What will they say about him? Anyway, Agamemnon and his ego, am I right? Menelaus reassures his brother that he won't be dying right now. The wound isn't fatal. All his various accoutrements protected him from that. Agamemnon, though, cares for his brother at least, and that he wants him to stay alive, so he calls for Machaon. I don't know how that's pronounced. He's their healer. Machaon, who, between the two accounts I'm reading, is either the son of Asclepius or Chiron, both known for healing, though one is a man and one is a centaur, so, seems weird to be able to say this dude is the son of either of them. Regardless, the implication here with either father is that he's a skilled healer. Given Asclepius was the god of medicine and was trained by Chiron, and Chiron is famous for healing, as those who have read the Song of Achilles know. I plan to cover Asclepius in a more in-depth episode in the future, but for now, that's the gist. Machaon rushes to Menelaus' side and he works to heal him, even using some fancy herbs that Chiron gave to Machaon's father, Asclepius, which makes me wonder where the one source got the idea that Chiron was in fact Machaon's father. Anyway, to clarify, the book, The Greek Myths, that I use often is the one claiming that his father is Chiron, whereas I've consulted two translations of the Iliad and they both refer to his father as Asclepius. With Menelaus injured and being treated by Machaon, Agamemnon is not by his side. He's taking this opportunity to advance the Greeks further. The Trojans had struck first, so Agamemnon can continue the battle now without being blamed for breaking the truce. This is, of course, exactly what Athena had intended. Agamemnon instead is inspecting the troops and psyching them up for battle. He speaks words of encouragement to them, describing the Trojans as, quote, liars and cheats. When Agamemnon encounters the troops who weren't psyched or seemed hesitant, he'd berate them, calling them cowards or shameful. Homer then runs through Agamemnon's encounters with various particular leaders of the regions of Greece. We're told that the Cretans, led by Idomeneus, were particularly ready to go, and Agamemnon praises them immensely. He then has a quick spat with my man Odysseus before Odysseus calls him out and they make up. Agamemnon continues on. He encounters many others and provides extensive backstories for how he knows them, or a memory he has in the moment. He's a bit of a rambler. But finally, Agamemnon gets to a man named Diomedes. Diomedes, we're told, is Tydeus' son. Don't know who Tydeus is? I didn't either. But Agamemnon proceeds to berate Diomedes by talking about the courage of Tydeus when he marched against Thebes. Tydeus challenged the Thebans to tests of strength, which he won. And when it came down to it, Tydeus killed 50 Thebans single-handedly. So, Agamemnon tells Diomedes, why the hell aren't you as badass as your father was? I just spilled beer on the Iliad. Totally normal 29-year-old woman in 2018 behavior. After Agamemnon finishes his epic, insulting rant at Diomedes, the man stays silent, but his companion does not. Diomedes' friend, whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce, tells Agamemnon off, saying they too conquered Thebes, but that they didn't get swept up in their own reckless folly like their fathers. But Diomedes tells his friend to be quiet. He understands what Agamemnon is doing with his berating of the troops. He wants them to fight at their best, to give him the glory of winning this endless war. The Trojans are urged on by Ares, god of war and general badass, whereas the Greeks are spurred on by Athena, goddess of warfare, but also wisdom. The two, while they both represented aspects of war, could not be more different. Ares, of course, is the god of the most vicious and violent aspects of war, whereas Athena, the strategy. It's not coincidence that Ares is being associated with the Trojans and Athena the Greeks. And they're not the only gods involved on the battlefield. Ares brings with him Phobos and Deimos, the gods of panic and terror, and Eris, the goddess of strife and one of my all-time favorites. All three of these minor deities are known for riding on Ares' chariot with him when he rides into war. Phobos and Deimos would do what their names suggest. They sow panic and terror. And Eris is the personification of strife and often simply referred to as that name entirely. She's fucking awesome and dark and crazy and weird. It's said that when she first appears on the battlefield here, she's small, and then she grows and grows until she's massive. Head in the sky, feet on earth, massive. She doesn't pick a side either. She sows strife and discord and hatred onto both sides of the war. She's definitely someone you don't want around, but at the same time, she's awesome. And so the Greeks and the Trojans finally fight an all-out battle. Picture battles from the movie Troy. That's probably one of the few accurate moments of the movie. Just madness. Chariots and men and swords and arrows all being thrown madly. It's a bloodbath. I wish I could comment on the accuracy of the Troy Netflix show. That would fit really nicely here. So instead, I reiterate that I will do a special bonus episode once I've watched it. Homer describes many deaths in gory detail. Blood and innards and spears through heads and groins. It's a battle to remember. One that, we're told, could not be taken lightly, even for a man brought through on the hand of Athena. Even that couldn't protect him from the onslaught of spears and arrows and all-out violence. By the time the sun sets on the fields outside of Troy, there are countless dead in the dirt and sand outside the walls of the city. Thank you all for listening to this slightly shorter episode and arguably darker, but there we are in the middle of the Iliad-Trojan War madness. And thank you for bearing with me on the delay of the episode. Hopefully I'll sort out a comfortable way of researching, writing, and recording in my downtime from this new job. In the meantime, thanks for your patience. We're just about to get into the really good stuff, too. Next time, who's this fellow Diomedes that I mentioned oh so briefly in this episode? You'll soon find out. Also, you'll have a special Troy Fall of the City episode to look forward to soon, hopefully? I plan to binge as soon as possible. It's not every day you get a dramatization like this, one that doesn't make up a brand new myth with all the same names but total nonsense. I'm looking at you, the movie Immortals. I'd like to also announce that the next movie I will review and comment on in a totally crazy me-style way in a bonus Patreon-specific episode will be the single movie that was suggested to me, Disney's Hercules. That one will entail connections not only to the Heracles episodes I've already done for the podcast, but also to Tales of Lion Skin-Wearing Hero that I haven't even gotten to yet. You'll recall that, as of yet, I've only covered the labors of Heracles, and boy, is there more to that guy. In any event, Patreon patrons will have that to look forward to, also when I find the time. But know that I'm on it, guys, and I'm ever so grateful to you for your support. Thank you all again, you're all magnificent, and welcome to the many, many, many more of you that have found me via Spotify. Honestly, it's been so exciting to watch you all pour onto my Instagram and Twitter and Facebook accounts, just raring to talk about this nerdy shit. To the rest of you, as always, you can and should follow me everywhere. I'm at MythsBaby in all those places, and I absolutely love hearing from you all. Please do me a favor and rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. It really helps others discover me. Plus, I'm in the top 200 of the arts podcast, so don't you want to help me bump up on the ranks? It's really pretty exciting. Also, that Spotify has placed me in the comedy section with the likes of My Favorite Murder and The Dollop and Love It or Leave It. truly makes my heart sing. Anyway, I'm just subtly bragging at this point, so I'll sign off. Thank you again. You're all wonderful, and I'm Liv, and I love this shit like you wouldn't believe.